And we are all here today because developer Brian O'Neill, along with his corporate counterparts, O'Neill Developers and Constitution Drive Partners, filed a lawsuit on June 27 in the Chester County Court of Common Pleas against the Delaware Riverkeeper Network, against myself as the Delaware Riverkeeper, against one named resident of this community here in East Whiteland, and in the complaint also threatens to target up to 10 additional residents, naming them also as defendants in his lawsuit. The O'Neill lawsuit makes false claims of defamation, interference with business operations, and claims that there is a conspiracy against him and again his development counterparts because of our vocal opposition to their development proposal for the Bishop Tube site right behind us. They want the court to mandate that we pay them $50,000 plus attorney's fees and to assess punitive damages against myself, the organization, and the named individuals they are targeting. Today, the Delaware Riverkeeper Network is filing our opposition to this suit. The lawsuit is demonstrably false. It's clearly filed in an effort to silence this community's opposition to his proposal to undertake a partial remediation in order to advance a massive development project at the Bishop Tube site. And so we, the Delaware Riverkeeper Network, and the members of the East Whiteland Township, we are here to expose Mr. O'Neill for his bullying tactics and this blatant effort to silence this community. We were to be joined in person by Senators Andy Dinniman and Dalen Leach. Unfortunately, at the end of the day yesterday, they got called back to Harrisburg. But we do have a representative from Senator Leach's office here, and we also have a statement from Senator Dinniman's office that I'll read after I speak. The First Amendment right to free speech is fundamental in the United States of America. And also here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, we have a fundamental constitutional right to a healthy environment. And we all have not just the right, but the obligation to stand up, to defend our families, to defend our communities, and to defend our environment when they are threatened by harm. And that is what the good people of East Whiteland Township and the Delaware Riverkeeper Network have been doing in challenging the development proposal of Brian O'Neill for the highly contaminated Bishop Tube site. Brian O'Neill and his development counterparts have been urging the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection to support a massive development plan for this site, over 200 townhomes, after only a partial remediation plan. The site is highly contaminated, and the DEP should be focused on cleanup, not on development. Trichloroethylene, also known as TCE, has been found more than 200 feet into the ground at the Bishop Tube site. TCE concentrations in excess of 700,000 micrograms per liter have been found at multiple locations. Some data also shows levels as high as 1.9 million micrograms per liter at some locations on the site. By comparison, for TCE, the statewide health cleanup standard for Pennsylvania groundwater is 5 micrograms per liter. So we're talking about 700,000, 1.9 million as compared to 5. And really, at the Bishop Tube site, there should be none. This should be a healthy environment for our communities. TCE and other VOCs, as well as heavy metals, are not just contaminating the Bishop Tube site, but they are leaving the site via groundwater, via discharges to the Exceptional Valley, Little Valley Creek, and via other pathways. And as a result, these toxins are being carried off-site and into surrounding and downstream communities. TCE can enter the body through air, water, or soil. It's a known human carcinogen. It can cause several kinds of cancer, including kidney cancer, liver cancer, and malignant lymphoma, which is a blood cancer. For 4 decades, the Department of Environmental Protection has failed to take appropriate action with regards to the Bishop Tube site. It doesn't even yet have a handle on how contaminated the site is or how far that contamination has spread. It has not been focused on remediation or cleanup of the Bishop Tube site. It has not been focused on protecting the East Whiteland and downstream communities, and that's why this community has had to rise up and speak out in its own defense. This is an important battle for East Whiteland and for our environment. We have a right to speak up, we have a right to speak out, and we believe we have an obligation to speak out. It is wrong for Brian O'Neill to be trying to scare, bully, or otherwise force this community into silence. So 2 things are happening today. The attorneys for myself and the Delaware Riverkeeper Network are filing our response today challenging Brian O'Neill's lawsuit. And the community is standing here with support from Senator Dinniman and Senator Leach to disavow the efforts of Brian O'Neill and his colleagues to scare this community into silence. We're also here to speak out against the Department of Environmental Protection's failure to take strong action to clean up this site. And we're here to oppose Brian O'Neill's partial cleanup and massive development proposal for the site. I'd like to read for you Senator Dinniman's quote, and then we're going to have Mary Pat Tomei from Senator Leach's office come forth and deliver his statement. But as Senator Andy Dinniman says, Pennsylvanians have a constitutionally protected right to clean air, pure water, and the preservation of the natural environment. Citizens also have a right to voice their opinions, views, and concerns on decisions regarding our public natural resources and to be involved in the processes, be they at the local, state, or federal levels. The bottom line is Chester County has a long history of standing up for our environmental resources, and to stand up, we need to speak out. So that's from Senator Andy Dinniman.
Dalen is very sorry that he can't be here today because, honestly, he believes that this is what makes America so great. All of you people showing up, stepping up, trying to protect your rights to free speech and to a clean environment. His statement is as follows. Lawsuits have an important purpose, but when they are wielded as a bludgeon by wealthy or corporate interests to silence advocates and communities, they harm the principles that form the very foundation of our country. Free speech is a right held by all Americans, wealthy or not, and it's our job to protect it. Thank you so much, and thank you, Maya, for all that you're doing.
I am the mother of a daughter with 3 brain tumors. And in 1990, my daughter was born. In 99, Bishop Tube closed. And as to what Maya had said about the implications of the toxicity of this land, the connection with my daughter's brain tumor, we're still looking into the connection there, as well as the health and my fellow neighbors in this neighborhood and beyond. One of my major concerns at this point is the fact that our township and the DEP were going to give Brian O'Neill a $1 million grant to partially clean up this space without actually knowing the level of contamination. And our neighborhood, contacting the Delaware Riverkeeper, has exposed so much information about the toxicity of this land. And the one thing that my daughter Liz's oncologist at Children's Hospital said, which gave me a peace of mind, he said, as much as we know about brain tumors, we don't know. And he was just trying to figure out how to save her life. And I want to hear the same thing. As much as we know about the TCEs, cleaning up the TCEs, and then the pollution and the toxicity in this land, we don't know. Nobody really knows how to do it. And until that is done, until we know how to do it, nothing should happen to this land. And I'm not against anybody for making money. I'm not against anybody for living their constitutional rights, but I am against someone holding me down to not be able to speak out for the people I love and the neighborhood I love. Thank you. Thank you.
Throughout this process, it has been clear that our local politicians have been making decisions without all the necessary information, including environmental data and input from the residents. Although we have made great strides in working with our township supervisors and our state senators, some of which are represented here, it is unfortunate that our local representative, Representative Milne, is continuing to make recommendations that directly affect our neighborhoods before all the environmental testing is complete and without discussions with us about our concerns. Representative Milne and many of the other politicians out there that we have not heard from, I've not heard from you since I have responded to you requesting a meeting. So please hear me now. I speak on behalf of the children who will be residing here long after I am gone. I speak on behalf of the environment that has been damaged for almost 70 years of toxins leaking from the leaking into the environment from the industrial site known as Bishop Tube. I speak on behalf here of this grassroots, nonpartisan effort that feels that we, the people, have a right to determine how we live. On that point, we have been very clear. We want to have this site cleaned up as safely as possible. We want the parties involved to be held responsible. And we want the site to be designated as open space so that the earth can continue to heal itself. Thank you.
I'm a coach at the YMCA in Berwyn. And what disturbs me, and I'll make this quick, is when someone comes up to me that lives on Conestoga Road, which is 401, and Swedesford, where it is noted that from that stream, which Myra had talked about, goes into her property. She is on well water. Her concern is deeply about this Bishop Tube site. And I think we need to realize what we're talking about here. The development of that would just put more toxins into that stream along with that well water there, and I know there's other people in the area downstream of that, which all goes all the way to Wayne, that are on that are on well water, that have to live with that are putting that in their system and are going to probably develop cancer and whatever else from it. I just hope and pray that people in this situation, Denman and all the people, will see the reality of what's taking place here and don't let this rich individual and these people take over and let them do what they want to do. I just hope it'll be stopped. I just ask that in Jesus Christ, please stop this mess.
Amen.
My name's Paula Warren, and I live downstream of the Little Valley Creek, which was dumped at TCE and tons of other stuff was dumped in it since 1951, ostensibly, until I guess they stopped it, I don't know when, in 90 or something. But my family we had a well, and we all drank the water, and we thought there was nothing wrong with it, but we were informed in, I guess it was 1990, that our well had very, very high levels of TCE, and we had been drinking that all those years, and there's no doubt in my mind that my family, mother, father, and 3 children, we had 5 cancers between us, and it killed my brother and my mother. And I'm sure, I don't have any doubt that it's from drinking poisoned water, and it's really wrong. We have 1.25 acres of, it's beautiful, and it was left to me by my parents, but it's now the groundwater that our home sits upon is loaded with TCEs. The DEP drilled 3 wells on our property. We live way over there, okay, not here at all. And they give us a paper that says that the levels of TCE are really high in our groundwater, but they don't tell us anything else, and nobody does anything about it. So, but my husband could not get better. He was sick. My daughter was sick. Everybody said, you've got to get out of that house. And so now I'm the only one left in the house because my husband moved out. But I'm not leaving my house. I'm going to try to stay and fight. So that's my story. Thank you.
God bless you.